What's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back at it at one of my favorite filming spot locations. And just when you thought that I just posted a video on this particular car, we're already back with episode 2. And of course, it came so soon because the owner of this car, Nick, who's not only a good friend of mine, is also one hell of a car enthusiast. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Nick's 2025 Nissan Z, this being the sport trim, but we're now talking about stage 2 with the mods, episode 2 with the mods. But before we get into this Atomic Fireball Red Z, let's talk about what's going on here. So there's many different vehicles out there that you can go with that you could add your personalized touches to, or you can increase the performance of. Now, with the Z, we're starting with one hell of a foundation, especially even with this being the base sport trim. Now, I'll leave a link of the review when he first got it at the end of this one so that you could see where it started and where we're at now. But like I said, a lot of people, they go after a Ford Mustang, a Corvette, a BRZ, a GR86, a Supra. What's great about the Nissan Z is that even in sport trim, it comes with 400 horsepower, twin turbocharged underneath that hood, and some obviously very sleek style that has that retro look, and it gives you that starting point that Nick is building on. And if you've been watching the different episodes with Nick's FL5 Type R, you would know that he really enjoys doing those incremental modifications. Instead of just throwing everything and the kitchen sink at it, baby stepping, but baby stepping in a smart way to see the differences as you go along the journey. So what I want to find out is, based off of where we started with the review of his new Z, are you thinking that he is going the right direction? And are you liking the mods? And at the end of the day, if you were going to get a new performance car, brand new, not talking about pre-owned, brand new, would you start like Nick did with this Nissan Z? Let's go ahead, let's dive into his and find out. Right off the bat, like I talked about in the first episode, the two-tone just really works for me, especially with the red. I think that you're gonna find as we move around the car, having that black roof is actually going to play out well in Nick's favor, and of course in the favor of the Z. Now, up front, you notice we're still stock. This is the total stock front end of a Nissan Z Sport or the performance trim. Obviously, the Nismo has that G-nose design to it, totally different front end, and also the Heritage Edition has a totally different front end. So it's gonna be interesting to see what is Nick gonna do in episode 3 with the front of this vehicle. Now, obviously, you do have that molded in front splitter, and this is for aerodynamics and for looks, but there is that extra level that Nick is gonna bring it to by adding a splitter. So my question to you is, should he go with a gloss black splitter? Should he go with a body colored splitter? A flat black splitter? Let me know in the comment section. Let Nick know in the comment section what splitter do you think would work best? Because he's really slowly kind of going through the interwebs to make that decision. But it's interesting because with some of the other things that he's changed, one thing in particular that we're going to get to very shortly, it makes it even more crucial, I think, to have some type of front splitter. But definitely thinking that it's a good foundation, like I said, to start with. Now, as we rise up, you have that long, sleek hood. It's hard to find a true, clean sports car nowadays. You know, you look at the C8 Corvette, and I know everybody and their mother loves the C8 Corvette, and you have every right to, but it doesn't have that sleek look that this car has. That front engine, nice long low hood, wide front end, it just doesn't have that like the Z. So I'm really, really glad that Nick is going the Z route so that we could bring it to you. Now, as we come around the bend, here's where you're going to start to see just a bucket of changes that were dumped all over this area of the car. Actually, all four areas of the car, the four corners of the car. What you're going to find are these Z1 ZM23s. That's the name of the wheel. It's not a 23-inch wheel. They call it the 23. That's the style of the wheel. First of all, style of the wheel, I think it's bang on. I love that solid spoke design. Really, really thinking that they went with the right touch. You'll notice that Z1 puts that embossed Z1 Motorsports badging there, even over here on one of the spokes of the wheels. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what size is this wheel? Believe it or not, Nick went with an 18-inch wheel. Now, if you watched the first review, which I hope that if you didn't, you'll click it at the end of this one, the Sport, the Z Sport, comes with 18-inch wheels. And if you watch the first review, you would know that this is a build for street driving. Nick has his FL5 Type R that is basically turned into a Honda touring car that races in the IMSA Challenge Series, the Michelin Challenge Series. That's what it feels like. But with this is going to be more his daily driver, and that's why he wanted to be very careful on what he selected. So 18-inch wheel, and then you'll notice that we have the big brake kit from Z1. So this is their street big brake kit. We get rid of those floating calipers. We have those beautiful gloss black painted with the Z1 badge. 14-inch rotors, slotted, of course ventilated. That's going to help with braking capability. And if you're wondering, well, what's the wheel size? It's 18 inches in diameter by 9.5. And then he went ahead and put some Pilot Sport Michelin tires on them. And if you're wondering what is the size of the tire, you're basically looking at, of course, it's going to be 18 inches in diameter, and you're looking at 255 up front, 40 series sidewall. I bet you $100. I'll bet you right now when we get to the rear of the car, I bet you those wheels are wider. I hope you bet me right now, because I'm going to prove you that I'm right. But let me know what you think about, like I said, wheel style. I like the black lug nuts. I should say, Nick and his wife Sally are deciding on what to do now about lowering the vehicle, because they want to get rid of some of this wheel gap here, this fender gap. Do they drop it an inch? Do they drop it a half an inch? Do they do springs, airbags? Let me know in the comment section. Those of you that are into tuning vehicles and modifying vehicles, let Nick know your thoughts on what he should do to kind of balance out this look, but also let Nick know if you're digging his choice of wheel and brake setup. Another thing that you can't see is we have steel braided lines. Now, the whole point of a steel braided line on your brakes is that they don't flex like a rubber hose. When you get on the brakes, the hose flexes if it's just rubber from the pressure. You do steel braided lines like a race car, you're going to get more solid pedal feel and no mushiness when you get on that brake pedal. So nice to see that we're talking about the balanced package here, even though this is for driving on the street. Let's continue down the side. So of course, like I said, the two-tone looking fantastic. One of the things that Nick actually loves about the Z is that samurai sword, that katana blade of trim. And that's one of the main reasons why he went with black wheels rather than silver wheels. Silver wheels, I think, would have been, first of all, too heavy, would have taken your eyes and just make it always focus down low. And this really allows that blade to almost look like you could pop it right off and chop somebody's head off with it. Of course, we have those really nicely designed door handles, so much better than the 350Z, so much better than the 370Z. If you think those others are better, I think we're going to have to arm wrestle, and I'll show you that these are better. Now, at the back end, you still get an 18-inch wheel in diameter, But now what we're talking about 10.5. So 9.5 inches wide up front, 10.5 out back. That's going to give us a little bit more rubber to meet the road. You'll also notice how that brake kit, it's not just about the calipers up front. We get rid of those floating calipers at the rear. I think it's really clean how he decided to go with the gloss black calipers rather than gold or silver or purple or rainbow flavored. And then you're also getting the larger rotors, which those rotors, you got 14 inches up front, that's in diameter, and then 13.8 inches out back. These are slotted as well. When you see them slotted, that means they're gonna get rid of the heat buildup when you get on the brakes. Now, when it comes to tire size, 275 on the width, 255 up front, 275. So we got more rubber to meet the road and a 40 series sidewall. It's gonna be interesting to see though. What are we gonna do there? What's Nick gonna do? Stay tuned for episode 3. I can't wait. Now, as we come around the back, I promised Nick I wouldn't do this because I don't want to scratch up his car, but every time I see one of these Zs, I want to rub my body on the rear fender. It's just the way it flares out. It's just a good looking design, especially with the Z badge. And then the final piece of, well, final on the outside. There's something under the hood. I can't wait to pop the hood and show you. But the final exterior modification is going to be this duck tail spoiler from Z1. I'm digging it because if you know, if you look at a Nissan Z Performance, they give you a nice little kick-up spoiler. This one stands out more obviously because it's larger, but it's not too over the top. And I like the way it kind of tapers in the center and then has the extensions, the farther extensions out back. This is a functional piece. I think it's really, really smart how it wraps around that edge down there. Still loving those Z32-esque taillights, even though that's how they come from the factory. They look fan-freaking-tastic. And then dropping it down to ground level, we're still stock, but there's a lot of different cat back exhausts that can be swapped out for these stock ones. There's also, of course, other modifications you can make to the exhaust, especially because this is twin turbocharged, like the downpipes. But let me know and let Nick know, the heck with me, let Nick know what you think so far of the look of the Z. Let's go pop the hood and see the last mod for this episode, because guess what? I want to go on throttle with you and see if it drives differently. All right, guys, time to look underneath the hood. But before we do, one thing that Nick really wanted me to stress is that even though this is his car and his ideas, we still have to thank, and he really wants to thank, Fox Auto Works for doing the modifications, for making the changes to not only his Z, but also the other cars in his stable, like his FL5 Type R. So underneath the hood, great foundation. You got that 3-liter twin turbo V6, 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. Like the way that the Sport comes, like I pointed out before, with that strut tower brace, stiffen up the front end of the vehicle. And then what you're gonna notice, uno, dos, that means 1 and 2, by the way, Z1 Motorsports cold air intake. So nice to see this blending of not only exterior modifications from Z1 Motorsports, but also when it comes to popping the hood. And obviously with Fox Automotive doing the work and Coders doing the exterior, making the exterior look really pretty. It's just a thing that Nick loves when he is just looking at the car, or especially when he fires up the Z. But since we're talking about firing up the Z, let's fire her up and hear what she sounds like. All right, guys, since the modifications are on the exterior underneath the hood, there's only one thing left to do. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in Nick Z. All right, guys, we are behind the wheel of Nick's street modded Z. The great news, like I said, is you're starting off with 400 horsepower underneath the hood. I got in second gear. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Those brakes are feeling good. Tires are feeling good. Nice, nice. I'm actually thinking that with the wheels and tires, it really has changed the handling very, very greatly from where we started. Wow. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I would have never thought in a million years, by going with these Z1 wheels, being 18 inches, going with the Michelin Pilot Sport tires. I mean, like I said, the Sport comes with 18-inch wheels. Now, they're not as wide as these tires are and wheels, but it made such a difference in how the car changed direction, held the line, the whole setup, almost to where there was even like less body roll in the suspension, which is kind of, I'm trying to wrap my mind around that, because usually that doesn't solve that type of stuff. But when it comes to feeling confident, tires are everything. It's like you can make a ton of changes to your car, but if the tires and the brakes suck, you're not going to be able to push very hard. Of course, having that ability for more cool air to be drawn into that twin turbocharged power plant is also another increment in the right step to building more power. And I'm very, very excited to see, like I said in the first review, where Nick is going to continue to take this car, because this part 2 so far has been really, really not only amazing, but also an eye-opener. All right, guys, let's come to a stop. Obviously, I have it in sport mode. We're gonna go on throttle. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Nice. Oh, yeah. What a difference. What a freaking difference. Jeez. I mean, the confidence that it's giving me and the feedback, I think that's always the biggest key, right? Is the feedback that it's giving me. Let me know how much grip I have. Let me know how much speed I'm shedding with those Z1 brakes. I'm so glad that Nick knows Fox Auto Works, because they putting these pieces of the puzzle together. It's really not only giving Nick a better Z, but also allowing me to share this better Z with you. So really, really nice to see when the pieces of the puzzle fit perfectly. All right, guys, one more time for me. Definitely one more time for you. Rolling start, first gear, 2,000 RPM, on throttle, here we go, yeah! On those brakes. Now we're talking. Nice! What a freaking difference. What a difference. The wheels, the tires, the brakes, what a difference. I can't wait to drive this car with some different suspension pieces on it. It's gonna even just bring it up to a whole nother level. Obviously, we're not going fast enough in a straight line to really get the benefits of the ducktail spoiler, but Z1 Motorsports has concluded tests to show that that is a functional piece. You really shouldn't be going that fast in a straight line on the road anyways if you're trying to test out your aero. But man, through the twisty bits, she likes to dance even more. It's like she got rid of her old hand-me-down shoes, and now we got proper dancing shoes on her. And the fact that it's an automatic, like I said in the last video, say what you want about that, but the whole purpose of this is to make it a street modded vehicle for daily driving. And yes, you could daily drive the manual without a doubt, but in Nick's stable, him and Sally wanted to have at least one vehicle with an automatic. Because remember, they have the GRC, the GR Corolla, the FL5 Type R, and now this beast as well. But of course, we got to thank Nick for bringing her out. Let me kind of run her through her paces and bring it to you. And we definitely got to thank everybody that's laid a hand on this thing, especially Fox, AutoWorks, and Coders for the beautiful exterior. But we're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a nanosecond. All right, guys, this is exactly why I started Rady's Rides all the way back in 2017, is to not only share the cars, but also the car passion, and to be able to bring people like Nick and bring them to you to show you what they're doing with their very own rides. But what a difference in the way that this Z drives with just some very important changes. I can't wait to see where Nick's gonna go with this Z. But we gotta thank Nick, Sally, his whole family for just giving him the love, the support, and the admiration to be able to do what he does with his cars. So thank you, Nick. And of course, let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Do you like the changes? Would you do something different? And is the Z really that performance car that gives you the perfect blank palette to where you could build your dream sports car? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, think you're being part of the Rady's Rides family. Gotta get out to Stephen Flood. You know, he's working out in the gym. He's eating these special protein donuts, drinking his shakes, and he's just getting swole. So I'm hoping that Stephen won't get any bigger, because then I'm gonna have to get 2 plane tickets for him whenever we fly somewhere to do some filming. So good job on all the hard work, Stephen, and just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.